Okay, now we finished our artwork. I want to take a picture of it. So this is in the studio, in my workshop, and it's on the wall. I control pretty much the lighting. It's fluorescent light bulbs. I've got a tripod. There's no wind, so I can control pretty much how it goes. In the street, you don't have as much control over the elements, the wind, people passing, all that stuff. So it's a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to give you two scenarios, whether you're using a phone or a camera. Nowadays, I'm using a phone. I'm recording this on the phone because the phone qualities are so good now. And it's just easier. I paint with my phone. When I'm done, I take pictures, end of story. It's one less thing I have to carry. I used to carry my cameras. When I used to do photography, I had like A7R3, like really expensive cameras. And you've got a big lens and everything is bulky and you end up putting paint on your expensive kit. It's just whatever. So I ended up going with a phone. But regardless what you use, you want to take a picture at the highest setting as your equipment will allow. You've got three things, especially if you're using a camera. You've got ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. You want your ISO to be as low as you can for the lighting condition. So if it's really dark, you'll have to put it at about 400, maybe 800. And if it's brighter, keep it down to like 100 or something like that. Even though your camera will easily go to 32,000 ISO or even more, don't go to that length because the quality is not going to be good. Keep it under 1,000. If your camera is expensive, keep it under 2,000. If your camera is cheap, keep it under 600 or 800. As far as the aperture, you want the aperture to be around 5.6. This is where 5.6 to 7.1. This is where the sensor will be optimum the optics of the lens will be optimum. If you go to 2.8, where it's shallow, that's not going to it look great and all that, but it won't give you the best quality that the lens can achieve. You want the picture of your artwork to be as sharp as possible, because once you've done the work and you paint it outside and it's 3 years later or whatever, you can't redo it. It's gone. That's it. That's all you have is the picture. So if you decide to do prints and large prints, you want your pictures to be as sharp as possible. So, and also don't go to like f11, f16, because then it's not as sharp again. So around 5.6 to 7.1 is most optics sweet spot. And the last one is the shutter speed. Shutter speed doesn't matter as much. So definitely have a tripod, and the shutter speed, you can do whatever basically. I normally do a 20th of a second when I'm in the street. Now I use a phone, so I don't really control that. The phone does it for me. But a 20th of a second in a dark setting, it's pretty good. If it's really dark, you can reduce, and it won't alter the quality so much. Okay, I'm going to show you the main settings using a phone first, and then I'll mimic a camera. So at the moment, I'm using an Apple iPhone, and it's got a few manual settings, not all of them, but it's got some. So if you look on the left-hand side at the top, it says RAW Max. So if I press on this, it'll allow me to take a picture in RAW format, which means later on I can go to a Photoshop camera raw or a different one, and I can process the picture a lot more. I'll keep a lot more of the data. When you're doing a picture of your work, it's a good thing to have a raw image, so then you can work on it a lot more. But at the same time, if you've got a decent phone and it's not very dark outside, it's optimum conditions, JPEG nowadays will do a great job. If you've got a really good camera, your JPEGs will be, fantastic. So a lot of the time, like I would normally use RAW. Throughout my career, I use RAW and JPEG, RAW as a backup. But most of the time, I just ended up using the JPEGs and they're good enough. Okay, one thing you want to do, you always want to have the phone at the moment is on a tripod. And this is going to help stabilize the picture and make it even that much better. The other thing you want to do, on the right hand side, you see there's a little timer. So if I press the timer, say timer off, 3 seconds, 10 seconds, Normally it's 2 seconds. I don't know why Apple did 3, but if you put it on 3 seconds, 2 or 3 seconds, doesn't matter. It'll allow you to, exaggerating, if I'm pressing on the phone to take the picture, it'll do that. It'll move the phone slightly. Like, even if I'm not exaggerating, you see there's a bit of a jitter as I'm pressing on the as I would press on the shutter. But as you have a timer, it gives the phone time to stabilize itself, or the camera. So 2 or 3 seconds is great. If you outside and you've got a tripod and it's windy, try not to have the tripod extended too much, because the wind will catch on the tripod, not enough to make it fall down, but it'll make it, vibrate a little bit, and that will translate in your picture, and it won't be great. So always have a timer and a tripod as much as you can. If it's a really sunny day and and there's a lot of light, you don't really need a tripod. It'll be fine enough because the shutter speed will be fast enough. I'll explain the shutter speed and all that in a minute. So you basically want to tap somewhere that you want it in focus, and you see on the right hand side you can slide it up to get it a bit brighter. Eventually it'll distort the exposure a bit, but you can bring it down or up a little bit, and it'll do a pretty decent job. So we've got 3 second timer. We can have it in RAW. We got, what else have we got? It's locked in. We increase the exposure compensation a little bit by moving the slider up or down. And now we can take the picture, and you see it'll stabilize itself. And then we've got, there's a bit of AI, so it'll clean this up. This is the thing with phones. They compensate the lack of good optics with AI to make it a bit better. And this is actually pretty decent. With a camera, you need a decent lens to even get something like that. Now, if we were to use a camera, this is more of an equivalent to what you would get. So this app is okay. It's not ideal. I just downloaded it for the course. The values that it has don't really translate in camera terms. As you can see on the bottom left-hand side, it says f0.38. This is the equivalent of your focal length, your aperture. You see it's blurry, it's in focus, and it's blurry again. So this would be around here would be 5.6, but you see it says 0.36 because the optics are a lot smaller, so everything, it doesn't quite make sense. A lot of the time in photography, everything gets translated into 35mm equivalent, like the older cameras, the 35mm films. Same as the ISO, which is the next one along. 2 to 4 is not really a value that you'd get. You'd get 250 or 320. But anyway, if you were to put your ISO between 100 to about 4 to 600, you'd get something fairly decent, and then you can take a picture. You wouldn't want to go past, say, 800, because then that's when your picture starts to get really fuzzy. This app only goes to 2.3 thousand, but some ISO on cameras will go up to like 100,000 or whatever. But then it starts to look like mashed potato. You can see the black and the grays, they don't look very good. This in the picture won't look amazing. So you always want to keep the ISO as low as you can. As you can see, it's cleaning up a bit. Shutter speed is the one you can really play with. So say you've got your phone or your camera on the tripod with a timer of 2 or 3 seconds. Like 250 would be a good shutter speed. Even 125 or something like that. But if it's really dark and you need to increase the light, you can simply go down like this. So this would be a second, and as I'm moving the phone, you can see it's taking a time to catch up, because the sensor, it's an equivalent obviously, but it would be like the sensor is open for like a full second. So any movement you would see in the picture. But if you have it on a tripod, it doesn't really matter. So if you've got it on a quarter of a second, or say all the way to maybe a tenth of a second or something like that. It's put on an eighth of a second. So you see it's still laggy. So the sensor of the camera or the phone will be open for a fairly long time, but at the same time it lets in a lot of light. And because you're on the tripod and you got a timer, it doesn't matter. You can take a picture and you won't see the movement. So this is one thing you can do. But if the conditions are optimum, say you're in the studio or you're outside and there's good light, you can just put it on, say, 250 shutter speed, 250th of a second. ISO, you could have that on, say, 400. The aperture, you want to have it about, like I said, 5.6 to 7.1. And then the white balance, you can just tap. If it's on the phone, it'll do it automatically. Most cameras will do it automatically, but you can also change it. If you're outside, 5,000 is normally what is daylight. In this room I'm in at the moment, white would be about 3,500 or something. The more you go towards 10,000, the more you go yellow, and the more you go towards 2,000, the more you go blue. And that's about it. That's the best way to take pictures in the optimum quality possible. You might not see it when you're in the street, so always zoom into your pictures, camera or phone, just to see the detail, because once you get home, it's too late. So always zoom in if you can to see how good it is. So aperture 5.6 to 7.1, shutter speed say 20th of a second, maybe 10th of a second on the tripod to whatever. When you go high, it's fine. 4,000th of a second is great. And when it comes to the ISO, try to keep it around 2 to 400 is optimum. And that will give you the best settings that you can get. Sometimes it's so dark that those settings aren't enough and you need a light. So when it comes to a light, the best thing I found when I used to have a cheap camera back in the day was to put the flash on the camera and take a picture at an angle and then get a big glare here, then go to the other side and take a picture that way and then a glare here. And then I would take a normal picture straight on without the flash. And on Photoshop, I would try to skew and merge everything. It's not the best, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do. Sometimes the conditions are just too bad for the sensor, and it's just, you have to do what you have to do.